Taylor Jenkins Reid has written something that feels like a biography of a real person, and that's the highest compliment you can pay to a work of fiction. Evelyn Hugo feels so real that you'll find yourself Googling her name, half expecting to see her black and white headshots on a Wikipedia page. She represents the tragedy of the self-made woman in a world that wasn't made for her. Have you ever wondered what it actually costs to own your own life? I'm not talking about paying your rent or buying a car. I'm talking about the price tag on your identity, your reputation, and the people you love most. We live in a world where we're constantly told to be authentic. Yet we spend half our lives filtering our photos and polishing our LinkedIn profiles. But what if the only way to reach the absolute top, to become a literal icon, was to lie to everyone you've ever met? In the novel, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Taylor Jenkins Reid presents us with a woman who didn't just play the game of fame. She built the stadium, wrote the rules, and then burned the whole thing down just to see if we were still watching. This isn't just a story about a movie star with a scandalous dating history. It's a masterclass in the brutal geometry of ambition. It's about the difference between the person the world sees and the person who has to live with the consequences of being seen. Today, we're peeling back the gold leaf of old Hollywood to look at why this book resonates so deeply in our modern age of personal branding and curated chaos. Imagine you're standing in a massive, glittering ballroom. Every eye is on you. You're wearing a dress that costs more than a house, and you're holding the hand of the most handsome man in the world. But as the cameras flash, you realize that none of these people actually see you. They see a character you've spent decades perfecting. This is the central framework of Taylor Jenkins Reid's narrative. The first big idea we have to grapple with is the architecture of the persona. Evelyn Hugo is a woman who understands that in a world dominated by men, her beauty isn't just an asset, it's a weapon. Throughout this book, we see her treat her own body and reputation like a corporation. She changes her hair, she changes her name, and she meticulously crafts a series of marriages to shield her private life. This brings us to an uncomfortable realization. Evelyn teaches us that truth is often the enemy of success. In our own lives, we do this on a smaller scale every day. We hide our struggles to look professional. We perform happiness for the sake of social cohesion. Taylor Jenkins Reid forces us to ask, at what point does the mask become the face? Evelyn's 7 husbands aren't just romantic interests. They are structural supports for the monument she's building of herself. They are business deals, PR stunts, and sometimes tragic mistakes. But collectively, they represent the sacrifices required to maintain a legend. The second major concept this book explores is the greatest love story never told. While the title focuses on the 7 husbands, the heartbeat of the story is actually a hidden, lifelong romance with a woman named Celia St. James. This is where the book moves from a glamorous soap opera into a profound critique of societal erasure. Imagine a puzzle where the most important piece is kept in a velvet box, hidden under the floorboards. Evelyn and Celia's relationship is that piece. In a time when being queer meant the end of a career, or worse, this book illustrates how love becomes a survival game. Taylor Jenkins Reid uses their relationship to show us that love isn't just about finding your soulmate. Sometimes, love is about who you're willing to hurt to protect the person you care about. It's a messy, often toxic, but undeniably real depiction of how external pressures can warp the most beautiful things. It reminds the reader that history isn't just what's written in the newspapers. It's the quiet moments in the kitchen that no one was allowed to photograph. This book challenges our modern comfort by reminding us that for many people, the good old days were actually a prison of silence. The third pillar of this book is the concept of ruthless agency. Most protagonists in fiction are designed to be likable, but Evelyn Hugo is designed to be respected. She is, by her own admission, a bad person in many ways. She manipulates, she lies, and she steps on others to climb the ladder. But here's the twist. The book argues that women, especially marginalized women, are rarely given the luxury of being good if they want to survive. Think of a chess player who is willing to sacrifice every pawn, every knight, and every rook just to keep the queen on the board. That is Evelyn. Through her, Taylor Jenkins Reid presents a radical idea that it is better to be a villain who owns her story than a victim who is defined by others. This is a jarring lesson for a society that constantly tells women to be nice and relatable. Evelyn Hugo doesn't want your relatability, she wants your attention. And she wants her legacy secured on her own terms. It's a cold, hard look at power and what it does to the human soul when you have to fight for every inch of it. Now, let's shift gears into the critique. Why does this book work? And where does it perhaps falter? On one hand, Taylor Jenkins Reid is a genius at pacing. She uses the interview format, where an older Evelyn tells her story to a young, struggling journalist named Monique, to create a sense of mounting dread and curiosity. The prose is cinematic. You can almost smell the cigarette smoke and the expensive perfume. However, if we're being transformative in our review, we have to look at the Monique subplot. While Monique serves as our avatar into Evelyn's world, her personal growth often feels dwarfed by the sheer gravity of Evelyn's life. Sometimes, the transition between the 1950s Hollywood glamour and a modern-day apartment in New York feels like hitting a speed bump. The book also walks a very fine line with its gray morality. There is a risk that by glamorizing Evelyn's ruthlessness, the narrative might justify behavior that, in the real world, would be considered truly damaging. Is Evelyn a feminist icon? Or is she a cautionary tale of how the pursuit of fame can hollow you out until there's nothing left but a story to sell? The book doesn't give you a straight answer, and that is its greatest strength, but also its most controversial element. It forces the reader to sit in the discomfort of admiring someone they probably shouldn't like. There's also the question of the twist. Without spoiling the ending for those who haven't finished the final chapters, the connection between Evelyn and Monique raises massive ethical questions about the nature of storytelling. Does anyone truly own a story? Or do our lives belong to the people we've impacted, for better or worse? This book suggests that the truth is a debt that eventually has to be paid, usually with interest. So, what is the final verdict? Who is this book for? If you are someone who feels like you're constantly performing for an audience, whether that's on Instagram or in your corporate office, this book is a mirror. It's for the people who understand that ambition isn't a clean, linear path, but a series of compromises. It's for anyone who has ever felt like they had to hide a part of themselves to be accepted. If you take one actionable step from this video today, let it be this: look at your own 7 husbands. I don't mean your romantic partners. I mean the things you are currently married to for the sake of your image. Is it a job you hate, but that sounds impressive? Is it a social circle that drains you, but looks good in photos? Ask yourself, if you were to sit down and tell your life story to a stranger tomorrow, would you be proud of the husbands you chose to protect your secret self? Or would you realize you've spent your whole life protecting a version of you that doesn't even exist? The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo reminds us that we all have a limited amount of time to be who we actually are. You can spend that time building a monument to a lie, or you can have the courage to be unlikable and true. Evelyn chose the monument, and while it made her a legend, it also made her the loneliest woman in the world. If you enjoyed this analysis of Taylor Jenkins Reid's work and want to explore more books that challenge the way you see the world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're building a community of readers who want to look beneath the surface, and we don't want you to miss a single episode. Until next time, remember, the world is going to tell a story about you anyway. You might as well be the one holding the pen. See you in the next one.